Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to jump right in and unpack something that's, well, at the heart of almost everything you do in the cloud, Azure storage. We're going to build our understanding from the ground up, so let's get started.
Just think about it for a second. Your phone's camera roll, every movie you stream, all those work documents, all of that data has to live somewhere, right? We are creating an unbelievable amount of information every single day, and honestly, the only place big enough to hold it all anymore is the cloud. So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll kick things off with a quick Cloud Storage 101. Then we'll get into the real foundation, the Azure Storage Account. After that, we'll check out the 4 main tools it gives you, figure out how to protect all your stuff, and then we'll wrap it all up with a final blueprint.
Okay, let's start with the big picture. The easiest way to think about cloud storage, it's like a modern-day filing cabinet. But, instead of a clunky metal box, this one is basically infinite. And a whole lot smarter.
Now, there are 2 words here that are absolutely crucial: scalable and durable. Scalable just means it can grow. Like, it can go from holding a few photos to holding millions of hours of video, and you never have to think about buying another hard drive. And durable, that means it's built to last. It's designed to protect your data from breaking down, which makes it super reliable.
All right, let's get to the core of it all. In the Azure world, if you think of your data as the house you're trying to build, well, the Azure Storage Account is the solid ground, the foundation that everything else is built on. And this is a really key idea to grasp. You don't just, throw files into the Azure cloud. First, you have to create a storage account. Think of it as your own unique, secure address in the cloud. It's the central hub, the main container that gives you the keys to all of Azure's storage services.
So, once you've got that foundation in place, what can you actually build with it? Well, this one single account unlocks 4 totally different, really powerful data services, and each one is designed for a very specific job. Okay, our foundation is set. Now it's time to actually build the rooms of our house. Azure gives you 4 specialized services for different kinds of data, kind of like having the perfect tool for every single task on a construction site. Choosing the right storage is really all about matching the tool to the data. So for huge, unstructured files like videos or system backups, blob storage is your absolute go-to. If you need something that feels like a classic shared office drive, you're going to use Azure Files. For communication between the different parts of your apps, Queue Storage is your trusty messenger. And for massive data sets that you need to access lightning fast, you've got Table Storage. So first up is blob storage. Think of this as your giant, super secure warehouse. It's perfect for just dumping huge amounts of unstructured data. Things like images, video files, backups, all the stuff that doesn't fit nicely in a spreadsheet. It's cheap, and it scales like crazy.
Next up, we have Azure Files. And this one is probably going to feel the most familiar to you. It's basically a managed file share in the cloud that works just like that shared network drive you have at the office. You can get to it from pretty much anywhere, whether you're working in the cloud or right on your own computer.
Now for something a little more specialized, Queue Storage. This is like the digital mailroom for your applications. It lets different parts of a bigger system talk to each other by sending little messages back and forth. This is great because it means that even if one part of your app is super busy or goes offline, no tasks get lost. They just wait patiently in the queue for their turn.
And finally, we've got Table Storage. This is a NoSQL data store. So instead of a complex database, think of it more like a huge, ridiculously fast archive of digital index cards. It's perfect for storing massive amounts of simple, structured data, like user profiles or sensor readings, that you need to look up very, very quickly.
Okay, so we've built our house, we've filled the rooms with all this valuable data. Now it's time to install the security system and get a really good insurance policy. This section is all about keeping those assets safe.
So, the first layer of protection is something called replication. Azure automatically makes multiple copies of your data to protect it against hardware failures. The cool part is you get to choose your level of insurance, from basic protection inside one building to full-on disaster recovery across entire continents. And this really shows you the main trade-off. On the one hand, you have locally redundant storage, or LRS. It's cheaper and it protects your data if, say, a server rack fails inside one data center. But on the other hand, you have geo-redundant storage, or GRS. This costs more, but it gives you maximum protection by copying your data to a totally different geographic region. It's your safeguard against a really big disaster.
Now, besides protecting your data from disasters, you also have to control who can access it day to day. So you have access keys, which are like the master key to the whole building. Super powerful, so you use them carefully. For more specific, temporary jobs, you can create something called a Shared Access Signature, or SAS.
Think of that as a temporary keycard that gives limited access, like letting someone upload just one file for only 10 minutes. And finally, for the best security, you use identity-based authentication, where you give specific people specific permissions. Whew, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's wrap things up and look at the final blueprint, bringing together all the key things you need to know about Azure storage.
Here it is, your 4-step blueprint. Number 1, always start with the storage account. That's your foundation. 2, choose the right tool for the job, blob, file, queue, or table, depending on your data. 3, pick a replication strategy based on how critical that data is to you. And 4, last but not least, always lock it down with the right access controls.
And that's our blueprint. You now have the foundational knowledge for one of the most powerful services in the entire cloud. So the only real question left is, now that you have the plans, what are you going to build? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.
If you enjoyed this complete video, please like the video, share the video with others, and subscribe to the channel for more cloud and IT courses, and leave a comment with your feedback or future course suggestions.